Meeting of the West Easton County come to order. Pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. DePaul.
Here.
Mr. Nixon.
Here.
Mr. Dees.
Here.
Mr. Thomas Nuttawine. Here. Mr. Lewis. Mr. Henry Nuttawine. Here. Mr. James.
Here.
Approval of checks 15505 through 15541 and 15546 from the general fund. Approval an account checks 2015 through 2016 from the sewer fund account. Do I have a motion to approve the checks from the general fund? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Question? 15514 has no amount on it.
Yes, it's voided.
Voided?
Same way with 15523 through 15526. They're all voided.
Okay. And 15531 to Christy Slotman. I thought we were done paying her.
We are, but that's the settlement for the condemnation on the Ridge Street property.
Okay.
Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Approval of checks 2015 through 2016 from the sewer fund account. Do I have a motion?
Make one.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Approval to advertise the 2017 borough budget.
I'll make a motion for that.
Second?
Second.
Discussion. Do you have any changes?
Anything that was changed was in the one that you have, it's indicated as a change. You did give us an email, but the one that's sitting in front of you also, all the way to the right column, there was some subtle changes. Most of those that we had worked out in our committee. So we are at a balanced budget with a surplus of about, this recommendation has us with a surplus of about $3,000.
And that'll hold the line on the local taxes, correct?
Yeah, we're not recommending any additional increase in tax this year, or next year. And all these changes take into account all of the input from all of the county members. So,
Office, have any comments?
I have one small comment. Paul, on the page that you handed out tonight for the highway fund,
yes,
you're estimating $100,000 for street repairs.
that's right.
$34,000 is coming out of what we expect to get for highway fund. $66,000 that is not accounted for should be appearing in your general fund budget, and there's only 63 showing in the general fund budget. And I didn't see that until we sat down tonight, so that's why it wasn't brought to your attention.
Well, there goes the 3,000 surplus.
Well, either that or we can just leave it the way it is. It's up to everybody here, but if we add 63 and 34 and keep it at 97,000 instead of 100,000.
It wasn't the estimate 37,000 that we were supposed to
I don't
get?
know.
No, that's 34.
Then we get a notice from,
We get an estimate. It's never
and what was the estimate?
37.
They're usually pretty good, so.
Yeah, I'm okay with the way
So
it
let's
is.
leave it the way it is.
Yeah.
97, and the only change will be from,
If we get an additional money.
Yes.
any other questions?
It was easy.
All in favor of advertising the budget, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
I'm sorry, just to be clear then, you're advertising the budget so the staff can put it in the paper now, the idea that it will be approved on the 12th
Right.
for public.
December 12th, right? That means you can come in and review the budget. You have 10 days?
No, we have to put it at least 10 days.
10 days, yeah.
So we go ahead and we advertise it, public has an opportunity to review, they have notice, and then since there's more than a 10-day period, that's when we can pass the budget if Borough Council so decides on the 12th.
Okay. Public comment, public to be heard? Anybody? Somebody back there?
My name's Nancy Coots and I live at 160 Spring Street. And I heard a rumor this past week floating around the borough, and I'd like the Borough Council to confirm whether the rumor is true or not. I was told that Kelly Gross removed her trash bill from her sewer bill for the last 5 years.
Are we in litigation?
We're not in litigation with that at this time. Generally, it is not, the opportunity for the public to be heard is for the public to say what they want to say. It's not appropriate for Borough Council to be asked questions. However, if you so authorize, I can provide a brief answer to her if you want me to.
Let me say it was a legal matter, but I'll leave it up to our solicitor.
Yeah.
To answer the question.
Yes, ma'am, it was a legal matter, it remains a legal matter. However, we will tell you, or I will tell you, that it was looked into, it was brought before the appropriate authorities, it was remedied, and the authorities determined no further action was to be taken. So as far as we are concerned, as far as the borough is concerned, they received payments, and it's a closed matter.
The way that they received payment, isn't that breach of the mayor's, isn't that conflict of interest that the mayor paid that for his daughter willingly knowing that she defrauded the borough for the last 5 years of theft of services?
Yeah, this, we're not, ma'am, I'm not going to answer any further other than it's a legal matter, payments were made, it was brought to the attention of the appropriate individuals, and no further action is going to be taken.
Maybe not by you, but I'm going to contact the Attorney General because everybody that over the last 5 years that has been charged late fees and has been charged shut-off fees, those fees should be applied to Kelly Gross for defrauding the borough. That's an extra $100 a quarter the borough should have collected. Did they collect that extra $100 for shut-off fees and late fees?
And as I said, it's a closed case as far as we're concerned. If you want to go ahead and go to bring it to the matter, whoever you want to bring it to, that's up to you.
Well, then if she didn't have to pay her trash bill and all those late fees were incorporated, is everybody in the borough going to be reimbursed their $50 late fee and their $50 shut-off fees?
Ma'am, we're not going to argue with you. I'm not going to argue.
I'm just asking. I'm asking a question because if...
Ma'am, I'm just telling you now, it's a close, my answer's the answer. That's where it is.
So, any charges I incurred because my bill was late, I want to be reimbursed for.
Ma'am, that's fine. You can ask that. You can tell me that's your position. As far as we're concerned with regard to the monies that were due and that were paid by representatives of the Grosses and done, that's it, as far as we're done, as far as we're concerned.
Wow. This borough is really super corrupt. Really super corrupt. You charge people extra fees, and because she's the mayor's daughter, she gets away with not being charged those extra fees. That is correct.
I'd like to say something, because you're calling us corrupt. Nancy, Ms. Cutts, sit down, please. Because we're aware of the situation. This council acted upon that situation. We gave it to our solicitor, we took it to the proper authorities, and no further action was determined taken by that authority. There's nothing more we're going to do with it. We did what we could, we looked into it, we investigated, we went forward with it. But it's come to an end. So there's nothing more we can do. And I think it's Deuteronomy 26:4. You don't impose the sins of the father onto the son, and you don't impose the sins of the daughter onto the father. Okay? So don't call us corrupt.
She should be charged those $50 late fees.
We're satisfied with what we received, and that's the end of it. It's been paid, we're done. Now, I know things in the past happened, they weren't right, and you're angry, we were angry, but it's been settled. And we want to move forward with the borough and forget as much as we can of the past. Is that fair?
No, because it's not fair to the people that had to pay late fees and had to pay shut-off fees, and she didn't have to pay any of those fees. That's not fair.
You don't know that for a fact.
Nancy, I'd like you to modify just one statement. We have a new council at the beginning of 2016. So I don't think you're referring to this present council.
No, I'm not referring to this present council. I'm referring to council in the past. That they were allowed to, that this was allowed to happen. I don't understand how a borough could allow something like this to happen for 5 years and not even know that it's going on. I'm thankful that this council found it and fixed it, because who knows how long it could have went on had you guys not caught it and fixed it. It could have gone on for a long time.
Well, actually, the voters fixed it. You got rid of certain people and put new people in.
And you can see the makeup of this council. We have a solicitor, we have a manager, clerk, senior clerk.
But I'm just saying, it's not fair to people that had to pay those late fees, and she doesn't have to pay them.
That's a decision made by higher authorities. We had no control over that. All right? If you know what I mean. Anyone else? Public to be heard? Mayor's report.
In the budget, matching grant money, I think $3,000. That's in anticipation of any grants that we need.
Application fees.
Do you think with some of the stuff that we got on the table, and I'm not advocating it changing now, but in the future, per your comment of having something on the shelf, like the public works building, that we would anticipate that for future, get that done with the engineering of that building. Council seems to be heading in that direction. Getting that on the shelf, so when the opportunity comes for a grant, we have the plans ready and we can submit them at that time instead of wishing that we had something to do. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Well, I think the grant has actually been submitted.
Right. Yeah, and all future bids would be handled by our engineering company.
Well, if that's taken care of, but there's going to be other things that are going to come up. And I think we should, as a council, we should work forward in that direction. Because you made the comment at the last meeting that we need to have something on the shelf that when a grant comes up. And the opportunity will be many if we have it on the shelf. And I've advocated that for years, but we never seem to get to it. It's a tough thing to do, anticipating what we're going to do. But I know there's one that could be expensive, is like the leaf loader. That thing's running on its last legs. I watch the guys out there. It's a struggle for them to manipulate that thing that picks up the leaves. And I think that in the future, I mean, we're going to put money into it every year for the transfer chute and all that kind of stuff. And it's old. And that's one item maybe we should go out and get pricing and put it on the shelf. And when the time comes, it's a good grant to get a piece of equipment. So that's my only concern with that.
Well, are you saying you don't think it's enough? I mean, the 2,000 is set there for application fees and and that kind of thing.
Well, I think that we should have something there, like the engineering for that building, whatever direction we go with that, brick and mortar, or I just gave them a type building that you can put up without brick and mortar, okay?
Well, actually, it was put in the grant for engineering fees also.
Was it?
Yep.
Well, that's important, but I think, what I'm trying to say here is that we,
Future project.
anticipation of future projects, we jump on that quick and not wait till the time comes for the grant to come here, and then we don't have it, and we have to backpedal and maybe lose the grant. That's all I'm saying. I'll talk to the quality of life situation. I don't want to get into only the part that I want to address is that enforcement is going to be important in that. I agree with it 100%. It's a very good ordinance. We have to get some kind of an enforcement officer in this town that's going to enforce these things. That you don't want the council to be picking and choosing where they're going to enforce this thing. We should have an officer that when we get complaints through the office, they transfer, and they're not going to be the scapegoats to do this. It's transferred to a code enforcement officer. The reason I bring this up, I think that if we could, if we don't ever get to the policing situation, that we ought to hire a code enforcement officer for all our ordinances who has policing power. And think about that. Snow removal, moving cars off the snow emergency routes, we can't do it now because we don't have the power to pull without jumping through hoops. We have nobody to issue citations. And our code people that we have under our new regime in the engineering situation, we have a situation going right at the Hubcap store where they're in violation of the zoning ordinance of the number of trailers, which was spoke to by the chief of police, that he said that it's a dangerous situation down there if there's ever a fire, because there's trailers all over the place. They couldn't access the building at all. Now, that I brought to council in, I believe, June. And I think that it's very important that we start, I'm an advocate of having police. I'm still disappointed with what happened in the past. And I think that we should look temporarily for a code enforcement officer that has policing powers, that's certified in policing, and can enforce our codes for a period of time until we get our own police force. Our ordinances right now are loosely enforced, and talk about fairness like the lady was speaking about. It's not fair to have 7 councilmen making that judgment. The complaint comes in, if it's a realistic complaint, it should be handled by the code department. We don't have a code department as far as I'm concerned. There's too many loose ends in that area. I would hope that council would take this under advisement and look to hire someone until we get a police department. And it's not a big deal. I'm sure if we'd advertise a job like that with a person that has police powers, that we could execute some of our ordinances, like snow emergency removal of cars off the snow emergency route, which we got big time problems with. Because of that, we don't have policing powers. State police won't do it. They won't enforce our ordinances. We have nobody. I think we have to start looking in that direction and getting that done. And the only reason I brought the quality of life situation up, it's very important. It's a great ordinance to keep our town nice and clean. It has to come from within us. It has to come within this council to make sure that we're going to have it enforced, and it's very important that we enforce it through the code department. And something lighter, on the lighter side, Christmas lights and flags. I don't know if we're putting them up or what's going on with that. I was asked about if we're gonna have Christmas lights this year, and I says, we don't do anything really extensive, a couple trees and a sign in the front of the building and the flags on the poles. So,
Our highway guys here,
we're in a
did you have a schedule to do that?
Well, it's like whenever, we're getting into that time period now, we start looking at it,
Christmas is 25 days away.
So it's like a worksheet that you have to do, a to-do list.
And I think at the last council meeting, was talked to about getting the public involved and getting back to the old traditions of the Christmas lighting and picnics together in the park and the yard sales at the park. And I think all those kind of things that you want to make the community come together, you have to have those kind of events, because I'll be honest with you, we don't know the people in West Easton anymore. It's not like the old days. Hank and I moved to that growing up here. We knew everybody almost in every block, at least one or two people. Demographics have changed, and the only way we can get people to know what we're about here is we have a good crew that comes every council meeting here to keep the pressure on the borough council to do the right thing and understand what's going on in this town. That's good, but this is a minority compared to the total number. To the total number of people in this town that are out there that don't even know what we're about. And I think it's important for us as a council to start with the newsletters and all that kind of things, asking for ideas, input into the town. I know as a former councilman and now as mayor, we get a lot of suggestions. Some of them I wouldn't want to repeat, but and what that people would think of you. There's a lot of that comment goes on when you do the right thing or the wrong thing. But I think the more we publicize ourselves and the good things that this council has accomplished in the past 11 months, I think it's something that you should pat yourself on the back and publicize it more often, and make a list of the accomplishments for the year. And so everybody in the borough of West Easton knows what they are, and not just the few that come to council meeting. Other than that, I'm happy to be here and enjoy every moment of it.
I just wanted to make a statement that I was going to bring up about public safety. It just so happens that Henry and I were at Bridge Street property, and someone happened to stop by that we're looking at for the beginning of the police force, or code enforcement, if you want to put it that way. So we are making headway.
Good.
If you have someone interested.
You know, Dan, that I will always be there to support that situation, whether it's code, whether it's policing. I know that people are frustrated with the fact that we don't see patrols out there. We've asked in the past. It seems to get fewer and fewer as we go along. And the comfort that people get from seeing a police officer drive past their house is very important.
Well, we have the money in the budget to start one, part-time, still covered the rest of the time by state police, but we're making headway on
Well, that's good, and I know you guys have worked hard and met with Wilson Borough, and I think, honestly, if I may have an opinion on that, I would think that we should just keep the door open, and I know it was authorized to send a letter saying that, the negotiations have come to an end, but in negotiations, they take funny turns in time. I've been a part of many of them in my work life, and I want to tell you something. Sometimes it looks bad, and all of a sudden it changes. And I think, you just don't throw a rock and hope that's going to disappear. I think we should continue to keep the door open. I think they have a need up there too. They have a need for extra income.
I think it has, Jerry. No letter was sent. Dan just made a phone call and said, I think
Oh,
I'm looking
well, the last meeting it was alluded to a letter.
Yeah, I think it's phone call, right?
Was that
No,
also?
it's a letter.
You didn't send a letter?
I thought that, I dwelled on that for a month, thinking that that's not the right thing to do, because I think you keep the door open. You guys have worked hard to try to get it down, and you got it down to a point. Not satisfactory to us, But I think that if we keep working at it, I think they have a need up there. Because why do you think they held their budget situation open so long? I mean,
We know why, but,
well, that's what I'm saying.
yeah, they mean.
Listen, I stepped back this year, and I told you that early on that it's a new council, you gotta get your legs, and you've done just that. You're getting your
Like I
legs.
said at the last meeting, Jerry, we did meet, I believe I mentioned this at the last meeting, we did meet with the chief of police in Stockertown,
Mhm.
and we also met with the chief of police in Palmer Township. We didn't go to Palmer Township to ask for a contract, just help and suggestions on how to start our own. And he was and Chief Palmer was very, very helpful.
He's a
So
good
we're on the
man.
right track.
Well, he knows us, he was the police for Easton.
Yep.
Perkansky was Easton Police, they know us, and that's why I think it's a natural, one way or the other, that we just keep the door open. And one of these days, they'll always say, well, and I know we had somebody on that negotiating committee that's born and raised West Easterner too. Okay? So, he worked his butt off to try to get it to a point, but he has to protect Wilsonburg too. But he did a lot of work to get it there because he cares about this town too. But he's glued to them because of his position. All right, that's all I have, and thank you.
Solicitor's report?
I have a series of items, but all of them are relatively brief. The condemnation of Bridge Street, that matter is settled. The checks for the final payments were approved earlier today, so the final documentation will be filed with the court, checks will be paid out, and that will be the end of it. So from a practical standpoint, Bridge Street is the borough's, all the payments have been made, and we're free to move forward. With regard to the compensation of the auditor, at the last meeting, there was a question as to whether there was some sort of rule with regard to what an auditor could sign or could charge. I provided you with a letter to that effect. I think there may have been some confusion between that and other rules. The bottom line is an independent auditor is free to charge what the market can bear, and we can address it appropriately. With regard to the Mezzacapa litigation, that we should address an executive session for an update. With regard to the police, at the last meeting there was an inquiry as to whether or not the Police Tenure Act applies. As long as the police force has less than 3 members, it does not. So if the idea, it doesn't matter whether they're full-time or part-time for the Police Tenure Act, it would matter, of course, for purposes of insurance, for purposes of benefits, and all sorts of other reasons. But if the question was, what's the magical line for the Police Tenure Act, is 3. And then at some point I met with Joan and talked about our International Property Code ordinance. It really should be updated eventually. What we do is there's a code ordinance that is regularly adopted, or regularly, not adopted, but regularly revised. The problem is our ordinance doesn't automatically incorporate the newest one. So it's my recommendation when I drafted it that we redo our ordinance to do that. So then that way every time the BOPA code changes, we don't have to do a new ordinance. So that way we would save money doing it year in and year out, or every 3 years or 5 years. One of the things that we talked about as with staff was, we know that ordinances cost money whenever we have to advertise them. So I have it ready for you, I sent it to you with the idea that perhaps when we're ready to move forward with other ordinances, we do it all at once. So we advertise 2 or 3 or 4 of them all at one time, saving on the cost. So it's my recommendation that at some point we consider adopting this when we're ready to adopt other ordinances. That's all I have, unless there's some questions.
Any questions?
I have a question about the police staffing. It's less than 3, you said.
Yes.
Does that include the police chief, who would be a supervisor role?
Yes.
He would be considered a police officer?
Yeah, but there's some confusion. Didn't he tell us they're not under civil service? John?
Well, the township, that was why the question came up. They're a township, which is basically different than a borough.
Stockertown's a borough.
Stockertown's a borough.
Stockertown's a borough.
Well, he didn't understand how they were,
Yeah, and he said he wasn't under civil service at all.
Right, because there are 3.
No, they had,
no, we have like,
they had 4 under him.
yeah,
4 under him?
yeah, there's like 5 or 6 maybe.
Really?
Yeah. I'll have to double check with them.
I'll have to double check.
Yeah.
We can give you his phone number.
Okay.
Any other questions? Yeah, that's a good question for John.
So we do have this, you did send us this property code.
I did.
Okay.
We can hold the executive session until the end of the meeting. Office report?
Just two brief things. First of all, our code enforcement officer through Barry Easton is working on things. There's been numerous properties that have been tested, and also the mail has been sent out certified, and that's what we're waiting to see if they either pick up the certification or the acknowledgement comes back as on not being picked up. And secondly, we have given Casell notification that we're canceling the contract with them.
And we made it with
Yeah, yes,
within time.
that's it.
Any questions for the office? I don't have anything this time, just at Ridge Street. We're gonna do the cleanup of the debris that's there next week, I believe, Henry. The wood that's there, we're gonna clean that up next week.
That's gonna go next Monday, because they won't rain today, tomorrow, Thursday, or rain something. We can't work on it. So we have it scheduled for next week. Dumpster in the excavator.
Okay, that's it. Ordinances and resolutions, I believe we had that quality of life, but you wanna hold off on that? Steve?
I mean, perhaps talking, I think Paul has sent it out to everybody for review, so I think it would be appropriate for us to review it, perhaps address it at a later meeting, and the idea being that if this is something we're gonna pursue, that would be an appropriate time to do the other ordinances.
Okay.
I have a little bit more I would like to address when we talk about committee reports also
Okay.
with regards to this.
Round table, anybody have anything?
Yeah, I was going through the borough code book, and I know that you said, because the insurance, life insurance for council members and tax collector, you had said that, and this is Steve, I might be looking at you. You had said that that might be considered compensation.
If we pay for life insurance.
Yeah.
It's a
In
friend-
the borough code book, it actually says it's not considered compensation. I'll send you.
Okay, I'm not familiar with that.
Actually, while we're doing something else, I'll look for
Okay.
it.
What do you consider a fringe benefit?
No, it's considered, yeah, basically a benefit.
Well, that's what I mean. And-
But it's not considered compensation like extra pay, which is what we were worried about. It's just something we're entitled to get if it's available through like an association, like the Boroughs Association.
Maybe the better way to do it is, rather than doing this in a public meeting, find out what it is, send it to me, let me take a look at it.
Okay. I'll find it.
Matt, they
Well,
might
sure,
say that,
we're
but, yeah, they might say that, but you have to read deeper into it. Like, okay, it's okay to have it, it's not compensation, but it still goes towards what you're given.
I'll forward it to you.
Okay.
I have one thing, we are, every year we do the Christmas lights, right, where we judge lights, and we have the best, whatever, we're still planning on doing that this year, right?
Right.
I'm just bringing it up, you used to, in the past, we used to, the best decorated home, the the nicest, or whatever, we had, and we would post that, or give them some type of, fanfare, big huge dinner, chart house in Philadelphia. I don't know, something like that, but,
Then they have an envelope with the prize money in it or something.
yeah.
I don't know how we printed it, I don't know.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I'll
just
talk
the
to
first
I'll
time
talk to the
hearing.
office about that. Okay. I think that's a.
Yeah, I don't think that's been done for a couple of years now.
If not, I would like to move on or
No, that's-
something with it.
That's what I was speaking to, you gotta get back to the things that we had going for us. And it was a lot of good things, it brought people together, not just that.
Yeah, whatever goes on.
Okay.
That was the activity period, by the way, staff.
You don't need a motion, we're not going to do something like that.
To get back what Matt was talking about, even though if it's compensation or not compensation for life insurance, and there's a scale table, the older you get, the less you're insured for. We did vote on to pay for it if we wanted it. Didn't we vote on that?
Yes, we did.
We voted on that. If we take the life insurance through the state, we were gonna pay for it out of what? we get anything.
But was it Matt's
We weren't gonna
concern
take
that,
that, we weren't gonna take that in addition to.
right, was it your concern, Matt, that it wasn't legal to have to do that? That's why you suggested paying out of your own pocket? Or,
Well, I'm just wondering if we did the right thing by doing what we did, voting to pay for it. I suppose there's nothing illegal in paying for it.
No, there's certainly no downside. Nobody can, you were certainly, and I think that was the conversation we had some time ago, you were certainly insulated, and you certainly can tell the world you've done absolutely nothing wrong by paying out of insurance out of your own pocket, because at that point, nobody can raise the claim that you were getting a benefit and not calling it something else.
Okay.
And I think that was the logic back then. And it's still the same logic today.
Are we still eligible for that?
You are still eligible for that. I have called PSAB multiple times. I have called the insurance company that initially instituted that for PSAB and have asked for information and flyers, and I've gotten nothing. I've made about 6 or 7 phone calls, emails, and I've gotten, yes, we'll be in contact with you, and then get nothing. I will continue to follow up.
Thank you.
And to let everyone know, the policy was very inexpensive. Can you give me an example of what a monthly cost would be, or was that a quarterly cost? Like $5 or something like that?
Under old council, with all the former members, it would be like $21 a month.
A month,
A month.
That was for everybody.
for
That was
everybody.
for everybody.
That was, so if you break it down, everybody pays for it themselves. Okay, committee reports, finance, we just, anything additional? Property? Henry, anything to report?
No, not yet.
Public safety, I just made a statement earlier. We're working on it.
Yeah, we can make a record tonight.
Legal's not here, but
Yeah. I'm-
you're a member.
I'm legal. Okay, we're reviewing the quality of life package, and you have that in front of you. This is the result of about 2 to 3 months worth of meetings, and so first of all, I'd like to review it. The other reason I bring this up is the quality of life issues that affect everybody here, and we're trying to improve, our image and everything. We're setting down some rules or some laws some rules or some guidelines that we would like people to follow. And the idea was we as a committee would like to recommend maybe getting some residents together and talking with this, coming in during the day or under time or when it's convenient for you. And I want to talk about quality of life issues. I don't want to be the only one or have us be the only one to decide what's right and what's wrong. If it's 30 inches of weeds or if you leave your trash out for more than 4 hours, I want to make sure that everybody is safe or on board with the recommendations that we've made. We're trying to make things better, no junk cars, keep your house nice, keep everything looking good. And then this rule would kind of help us to get people to do the right thing. Give them a warning and then say, hey, there's a car parked out in front of the house for 2 years, maybe you should move it or do something. That was our goal. So our recommendation as the legal committee is to advertise and not advertise, but to request a quorum of some residents to come in and talk about quality of life issues and see if we can make this a working document that everybody buys into, that everybody has an input, so that it is good. So
When does our next newsletter go out? January?
that's what we're thinking. We're going to do something in the newsletter. I'm going to ask for volunteers and at your convenience. Since I work nights, I'm home all day during the day, trying to sleep.
I'll put it on the website for the good.
And you're welcome to contact me if you have any ideas or any information. If you'd like a copy, I can make you a copy as well. So, I need to back up for finance. I'd like to schedule I want to schedule a meeting for finance for the 8th of December, which is prior to our meeting, just in case there's any loose ends or anything we need to tie up.
What date?
8, if that's
28th?
okay, the 8th.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
I'll let Bob Lewis know that.
All right, 1 o'clock.
And I'd also, this time, I'd like to schedule a meeting for the legal committee at 2 p.m. on the 8th. Is that right?
That's,
Yeah.
We'll come over to your
What
house.
time? Yeah, you come on my house. Coffee. No sugar though.
You I work for the brewery, so. That's all I have, thank you.
somebody can't make no show for utilities, anything else? Anything
No,
less?
did you hear anything? We're still waiting on Med Ed with the,
So, as far as the LED lights go, everything is submitted, everything is complete, they have everything they need. They are in the process of scheduling. We should anticipate, our long-term plan is within 6 months. We should have, all of our lights will be changed to LED lights.
All the lights in West Easton will be LED.
So we're going to save a little bit of
All our
money.
streetlights.
All our street lights. We're going to save a little bit of money on our electric bills because they use a little bit less electricity. And the cost per light is a little bit less too. So we're not going to save a ton, but we're saving a little bit. But, we know every little bit helps. We're trying to hold on to the money we got.
Well, I think the big savings is we only have to pay for one light, or two lights, right?
Yes.
The rest of them we own. There's no cost in the replacement of those, right?
They own.
They own.
They own. We own two. There are 2 that we have are on a lease that we have to buy out a lease.
Their replacement is not a cost to the borough.
No, they're lights.
That's, of all the lights we have in the town,
Yeah.
that's the point that even people have to understand, that we're not expending a lot of money here. It's a very good
I
situation.
think the whole thing is would end up costing us about $300. So
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
good job, Mr. G.
Oh, thanks, man. I got a good leader, Mr. Nixon.
Look at me.
Recreation. Recreation.
Nothing at all, but you got the signs,
Yeah, the signs, yes.
Should have put one of them out here, let everybody see them.
That's all
Next meeting,
right. Just put them up.
unless we put up
Put them up. You don't have to do anything else.
grants, that's it.
It's only
Well, actually, what have you heard back from HUD on that, the one grant for
For the,
yeah.
For what?
the building, we got a letter from Harrisburg.
I thought we were supposed to hear by the end of October.
For the garage?
Yeah.
The only thing I got from them was they adjusted a little bit for, the engineer fees can only be 10% of the total.
Okay.
So other than that, I haven't heard anything.
Okay, so they've adjusted fees, but they haven't made a decision on
That's what
approving
I'm
it.
saying, right, she was working on it.
Well, if you're adjusting the fees, it sounds favorable,
Yeah.
that's it. When we move forward with the police situation, there'll probably be a lot of grants being talked about.
And anything else about the finance, whatever comes up. Unfinished business? Is there any unfinished business?
Here are the 2 items that are on the agenda.
2 items.
Okay. Motion for a proposal salary increase for new council members beginning in 2018. Does anybody have an opinion on that?
What, is there a motion?
No, I just,
We tabled it last
we
meeting.
tabled it.
You want me to bring it
Can I
up
make a
this week?
motion to go into discussion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second? Discussion.
Discussion, I firmly believe we should raise that. Maybe we get more people to participate in our council. All right? And that's what it's all about. It seems like the guy gets on council, usually here for 20 years, unless he dies or moves out of town. But maybe because if it's worth a little bit more to almost pay your taxes for being on council, and that's what I'm hoping for, is a replacement. I don't want to be here forever. I filled in for a pinch. I'd like to get out of here in about 1 or 2 years. And I think that's the only way we're gonna do it. Because $800 doesn't seem to rouse any interest.
No, it's actually 900.
Well, I don't take the taxes out of it.
I have an opinion, I think I have the same opinion Matt has, working on the police situation.
This is my opinion, it may not be yours. No one's gonna get rich working on council, we don't expect to. The difference of, I don't know what the proposal was, a couple $100 more,
Yeah.
100 more,
Yes.
isn't gonna attract anybody else to be on council that doesn't wanna be on council or does wanna be on council. It's not gonna make a difference. And I'd be all for an increase if we do the one thing that the residents want most, police protection.
I
If we can
understand.
get a chief and a couple officers patrolling, and we get something in the town here, then I would say, yes, we deserve a raise. And I would say that raise should be maxed out, because I think the max that councilman can get in the borough is $1250, and I think the mayor 1,500 or something like that. It isn't even much more.
No, I think it's 3,500 in our size. You didn't get
1,800.
3,500.
I don't think it's very.
No, it's 18,
1,800.
1800.
I think ours, check that.
Okay. I'm pretty sure it's 35.
No,
As you said to me a few times, that my feudality over the years is the reason that we don't pay a lot of money in this town for council. I have no objection to what you're talking about tonight, but I've never cared. I would have done it for nothing. When I started, I got $108 a year. 108.
That was big money.
You know how many?
wait a minute.
Hey, open premise, you
I
said
got
that.
60, what are you talking about?
Hey, that was 51 years ago. But we went from $108 to the 800, 900 now. So we did as councils over the years now, I'm not speaking now, looked out for the taxpayers because we didn't raise our situation. It was raised to just general, like you're going to try to raise it now. Raise it up a little bit every years.
I'd like to wait until, because we don't have to act on this now. We could vote on this in June and it would take effect in 2018, wouldn't it, Steve?
Yes, you can't do it for this time around. You
Right.
can't raise your own. You got
Right, but if you vote on it before the next election, then it would take effect after the next election in 2018.
That only takes effect for
So-
people that get
Like the
elected.
new people.
People who are in council don't get the raise.
So we could wait until the summer and see how we're doing on everything else first, and then I could consider voting yes, but right now, I would think no.
Well, my opinion was almost down the same line, but being on the finance committee, I believe it started out at 200, didn't it?
We recommended a $100 raise for council and mayor and council chair would take 200.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No, I feel the same way.
Well, if you,
There was a very slight impact.
we're not talking about a lot of money here because if you get past it tonight, it's only for, what?
2018, yeah, for,
There's only a couple councilmen that's
Four-
gonna share that, maybe two.
Yeah, so we can discuss it in June. It doesn't
Yeah, but
have
you're
to
not,
be
you're not
decided.
penalizing anybody by not changing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because it's, I'm never gonna share in it. So it doesn't matter to me. And it wouldn't have mattered anyway, even if it would have been following. But the point is, it's only gonna affect what the people that are running.
Yeah, this one doesn't get affected.
New
It's
people.
whoever comes in after.
So how many people are running in the next election? Four. So 4 councilmen are the only ones that would be affected by the raise. New people.
yeah, my opinion, I thought it was 200 across the board for everybody, but 100?
Listen, you're leaving on there.
But we can wait till,
There's 2 going out of here,
we can,
maybe 3.
Well, it'll still be 4 people, no matter what,
All right?
how you look at it.
yeah, we could, I have a motion and a second. That discussion. The only problem is, on that motion, there was no dollar amount, I don't think. So, if you want to,
We make a motion that we further discuss this and revisit this in June.
table it, second to table until June?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Sorry, Pete, come to your raise.
Next item is the approval of the meeting dates to be advertised and the time of the start of the meetings.
Are we starting at
Is there a
six?
motion to do that?
I'll make a motion.
What's our start time?
In discussion, okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second.
We have the dates, the office printed out the dates. I checked the dates and they look good. It's the second Monday and the fourth Monday of every month, if necessary. The second Monday in every month. The time start now and always has been 7. And there's been some talk to bring it down to 6 or 6:30 start time. Any suggestions or comments?
I'd like to say 6 o'clock. I'm probably, Ron works, Paul, you're working, I don't know what your schedule's like, but I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I think 7 o'clock is a little late, because we've gotten out of here at 10:30 sometimes,
11,
11 o'clock.
11:30?
I don't know if the meetings will always be as long as they were at the beginning, but I think most people, if you have a regular job, not 9 to 5 job, then you're home 5:30.
I need my rest.
5 o'clock.
I'd like to compromise that to 6:30. So we have 2 times. We got 6, 6:30, and 7.
I need to throw this out to the public to be heard on this one, because they're the ones, it's not about us, what time I had to get here, or what time my job, outside job, it forces me. I get up at 5 o'clock every day and went to work. What I'm saying is that the public has to get here. Are they going to be inconvenienced that they can't get here because of, dinner time, stuff like that? That's the things you got to think about.
Well, I'm willing to hear the public, because I want them to realize
Well,
that
that's
you
why
can be
we-
home by 8 o'clock and watch those primetime shows if we start at 6.
I like to watch pro football games too on Monday nights.
That's why you got DVRs now.
I'm looking at some
Hey.
retired people out there, so I don't think they care what time it is. I have no problem with 6:30. 6 o'clock, not for me. I can be here at any time of the day.
Can we hear from the public?
Do you have an opinion?
Go ahead.
6:30.
I like to see 6 o'clock in the winter time when they have the daylight saving, and 7 o'clock in the summertime.
So that sounds like 6:30 then.
6:30.
6:30.
These stories are going to be very. That was a good one.
Do I have a motion for 6:30?
I'll make a motion that we start our committee meetings at 6:30.
You mean Borough Council meetings?
Yes.
Borough council meetings, Mondays, 6:30.
Well, let me put that 6:30 on the motion that we already have then.
Okay.
Do I have a second for that?
I'll second it.
Dave, do a voice vote on this one.
Mr. DePaul,
Start time at 6:30, yes.
Mr. Nixon,
Yes.
Mr. Dees,
Yeah.
Mr. Thomas Nolan,
No.
Mr. Hank Nolan,
Yahoo, yeah.
and Mr. James.
Yes.
5-1.
Pass for 5. New business, any new business?
Yeah, I brought the rain tax up last week, last council meeting. Northampton County is going to put on, they're working on it tonight, $5 additional on your driver's license, so they can build bridges in Northampton County. So if you have more than one vehicle, it's going to be a $5 fee on each license.
You need registration?
Here it is. You can
You're
read
kidding.
it.
Yeah. And I have a CDL, mine's more expensive than a regular driver.
So, you know,
Yes, it was.
What it's if it's on your vehicle license, it's the number of vehicles you have.
Oh, it's registration, not
Yeah.
Well, it was a free mail.
So, in my case, with the business and everything, I have a lot of vehicles, and
So you need that registration.
no, I don't want to risk it. I just think it's, they need to do it in Northampton County, but it is impacting, again, the public, an additional $5 on their fees. And if the state decides that they want to do it too and raise the licensing fee, they could raise it too, because we're talking about it. So it's gonna impact everybody that's just in this room.
Any other new business? Since the beginning of the year, I always have public be heard again at the end of the meeting, so anybody else want to make a comment? Anybody? Seeing none, we'll go into executive session.